Hello, Iowa! Let me begin with a message for our House Democratic friends. It is time for you to do your job and impeach Donald Trump. How many crimes does this president have to commit before Congress will act and impeach him? Today, I want to talk to you about life after Donald Trump. Because whether we impeach him now or we defeat him on November 3rd, 2020, there is going to be life after Donald Trump. And the question is, what is that going to look like for our beautiful country? Now, I grew up on the west side of San Antonio with a grandmother and a mother and my twin brother, Joaquin. Joaquin likes to say that the way to tell us apart is that I'm 1 minute uglier than he is. But that's not true. I'm 1 minute older. My grandmother had come over from Mexico when she was 7 years old, along with her sister, because their parents died. She never finished elementary school, so she worked as a maid, a cook, and a babysitter. She raised my mom as a single parent, and my mom raised my brother and me as a single parent too. And like a lot of your families, we knew what it was like to struggle, to worry about being able to pay the rent on the first of the month, or whether the light was going to stay on, or whether we could afford the groceries that were on our list to buy. And just to think that 2 generations after my grandmother got here, with almost nothing, one of her grandsons, my brother Joaquin, is a member of the United States Congress, and the other one is standing here asking for your support to be President of the United States of America. That is America. That is the country that we want to create for every single American. I know that in the years to come, we need to move forward as one nation with one destiny. And my vision for the future of our country is that America will be the smartest, the healthiest, the fairest, and the most prosperous nation on earth. If we're going to be the smartest nation on earth, it means starting early with universal pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds. It means paying teachers what they deserve and improving our K-12 education system. We know that jobs require more knowledge and more skill than ever before. That means that everybody should have access to a higher education with tuition-free public state universities, community colleges, and job training and certification programs. If we're going to be the healthiest nation on earth, it means we need a different healthcare system. My grandmother had type 2 diabetes, and I watched as her condition got worse and worse. Until right before she passed away, she had to have one of her feet amputated. But that whole time, she had Medicare. I want to make sure that everybody has Medicare in our country. I also believe that we need to make sure that we end the distinction between physical health care and mental health care and invest in mental health care. And that we improve our healthcare system so that rural hospitals can stay open and provide good quality health care to everybody. If we're going to be the fairest nation on earth, it means reforming our justice system, reforming our cash bail system, investing in public defenders, legalizing marijuana, and investing in diversion programs. I'm proud that I was the first candidate to propose a police reform plan. So no matter the color of your skin or how much money you have or what neighborhood you're growing up in, you're treated the same by law enforcement. I also believe that if we're going to be the fairest nation on earth, we need to ensure that women get equal pay for equal work. And that we defend a woman's right to have an abortion in this country, the woman's right to choose as it's under assault. That we pass the Equality Act, so no matter what your gender identity or sexual orientation is, you can't be discriminated against in housing or in employment. We won't have second-class citizens in the United States. If we're going to be the most prosperous nation on earth, It means prosperity for everybody. It also means that we have to tackle the biggest threats to our country. My first executive order on my first day in office will be to re-enter the Paris Climate Accord so that we lead again on sustainability. And to follow that up with a Green New Deal so that we can protect our planet and get to net zero and also create great jobs in the clean energy economy. Being the most prosperous nation on earth also means that we need to raise the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour and support unions so that folks can have good benefits. And we know that we already need to go above $15 in the minimum wage. We need to index that every year so we don't have to wait 10 years for the next raise of a minimum wage. We need to invest in affordable housing because the rent is going through the roof in too many places. We need to make sure that we have a tax code that rewards people who have to work for a living and not only the Amazons of the world and people who are very wealthy. I've proposed investments for working families in universal child care, making sure that we have good health care and universal pre-K, those things that families need to truly prosper. We also need to make sure that in the years to come, that we invest in jobs not only in our big cities and suburbs, but in rural communities that are hurting in Iowa, in Texas, and throughout the United States. Look, in 2016, most of us did not think that Donald Trump was going to win. A lot of us were surprised when he did. And his campaign is up to its old tricks. And one of those tricks is trying to scapegoat immigrants. We need to reform our immigration system. No more putting kids in cages. No more kids sleeping on the floor. No more families being separated. We're going to keep families together. We're going to put undocumented immigrants on a pathway to citizenship. We're going to make sure that we treat people with compassion and common sense instead of cruelty. And that we partner with Central America so that people can find safety and opportunity at home instead of having to make the dangerous journey to the United States. If we're going to beat Donald Trump, we're going to have to ensure that we go everywhere. We campaign for everybody's vote. And I've been doing that in this campaign. We need to create a young, new, diverse coalition of working people who are going to get off the sidelines and into the voting booths to beat Donald Trump on November 3rd. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to go and get those votes in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, but also go and get the 29 electoral votes of Florida, the 11 electoral votes of Arizona, and the 38 electoral votes of my home state of Texas. And you know, folks have asked me, what is the first thing that you would do if you're elected president? And I tell them, look, the first thing that I would do on the first day is sign that executive order, recommitting to the Paris Climate Accord so that we're leading again on sustainability and we send a signal to the rest of the world that that's what we're going to do. But I said, in all honesty, my favorite moment would actually come a little bit earlier in the day when it's customary for the incoming president to say goodbye to the outgoing president. Y'all know what that moment is going to look like. Right there on the White House lawn, with all of Donald Trump's staff lined up around the White House, the helicopter waiting in the distance to take him off. I can imagine being there with my wife, Erica, and my daughter, Karina, and my 4-year-old, Christian, getting ready to say goodbye to Melania Trump and Donald Trump. They'll be getting ready to go off to New York or Mar-a-Lago or somewhere. And right before he leaves, right before he walks away, I'm going to tell him, adios, adios, adios. You can help make it happen, Iowa. We're counting on you to register voters, to spread the word, to get folks out into the voting booths, off the sidelines, to beat Donald Trump on November 3rd and say adios in January of 2021. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Iowa. Thank you. Thank you.